Hey everyone, how's it going? First of all, welcome back, and here is my spoiler or very in-depth spoiler review of episode 1 titled Acheron Part 1 of season 11 of The Walking Dead. And I'm very excited to do this video because there's a lot of notes here, a lot of things that I want to get through. There's a lot of stuff. Basically, what this is it's kind of a review because I will give my thoughts on stuff, like more in-depth thoughts on just the new things I'm talking about. Last Sunday, obviously, I did post my spoiler review. That's just a very general, like, here's my thoughts on the episode. Here's my reaction, my like review, my fresh thoughts on the episode. No in-depth stuff, just stuff that I've noticed, just as like a casual viewer and whatnot. And this here, I kind of want to give my thoughts on it like that too. It is going to serve as a review, but most importantly, it's going to be serving as a very in-depth breakdown of the episode, talking about every single Easter egg that I noticed. There might be some stuff that I've missed, and if I've definitely missed things, I invite you to post your or what you found down below. And yeah, but if you are new here and you do want more reviews like this, make sure to be a subscriber. I will be doing my episode 2 in-depth analysis video for next Sunday. It'll come out exactly once that episode airs on August 29th, I believe is the day. So yeah, this is super exciting. So make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel and all that usual stuff. But let's jump into this. I'm going to go through this scene by scene for the most part. I know there's the big shocking ending that everyone wants to talk about, but I want to go through this scene by scene. So I do want to focus on the military base stuff. They actually mentioned in the bonus episodes that they were going here, so that's why they had this. I think this was probably already pre-written, but when they had to come up with the bonus episodes and stuff like that, they were like, well, we can just throw this in there, right? And that was a tease as to what was to come in the final season. And I mean, it was the opening minutes, so it wasn't anything too big, but that was the setup here. We also do got the sleeping walkers, or I guess they're called lurkers. Now, I know some people are probably going to bring this up. They're going to say how it makes no sense. Why were those walkers just playing dead? It's a thing in the comic series. It's also happened in the show before as well. In the comic, they're called lurkers. We don't really use that term on the show that much, and I really like these walkers because they're essentially just like playing dead until they hear a noise or whatever, and then they'll come at you, they'll wake up, right? I'm not sure if you remember, it's a really cool scene, but Herschel actually gets bit, like he loses his leg due to a lurker. He's just like, they're walking into prison, and then the zombie, he just like jumps out of nowhere. It's really fast, it's actually kind of scary, and he bites Herschel's leg, and everyone thinks, oh shit, he's dead now. But obviously they amputate his leg and he lives for at least another season and a half. Now, I really like the drop of blood sequence. I just wanted to mention that in here. I mentioned it in my review, but I did like this sequence. It was a really cool way of doing this action sequence because they've done these kind of things before. Season 3's premiere comes to mind, actually. And it was really cool. They're being very careful. They brought all the supplies up after they went through everything. And by the way, their explanation is that the women went down because they're lighter than, say, like Daryl or Jerry or like Elijah and etc. And so that's why they went down, which makes sense. Like, could you imagine if Carol and Maggie and them were like luring down Daryl and Jerry? Like, maybe if you had a few of them, but it just overall, I think it kind of makes sense. I like that attention to detail there. And say you had a few people actually able to like lure them down. I think it just makes sense overall. If you're going to let anyone go down, you might as well have the lighter people go down, right? Because it's just easier to pull up. And the drop of blood sequence I just really liked because I thought it was really cool. Like, they were being super careful, and it was just that drop of blood from Daryl's arm that landed on that walker, that lurker, I guess, and woke everyone up. Another thing I noticed too, but Carol actually borrowed Daryl's knives during this sequence, which is kind of cool. Now we get into the intro here, and this is where a lot of people wanted to know, like, what has changed from the intro. And I will keep an eye on an intro. I'll mention any changes that happen from like episode to episode. I imagine for the most part, it's going to stay the same for the rest of this first part, and then the second part that airs in early 2022. I think that's where there could be some changes, but these are the changes to the intro here. The frames have aged, and I'm comparing this to season 10. The frames have actually aged. In season 10, they were a lot more vibrant and they had color. In season 10, they're broken and they've been there for so long, so obviously it would aged. This, I actually don't know what this is here. It looks like there's like a baseball bat, like Lucille or something, beside Carl's grave. I'm not entirely sure what this is, so you guys will definitely have to let me know, but that's definitely new. That wasn't there in season 10. Dog is now here. That's kind of cool. The burnt structure here kind of looks like a ship. That's also gone. There are now flowers on this skull. I was actually trying to look if it was a Cherokee rose, but no, Cherokee roses are they're white, right? So there's also a crowbar that's now there, which is cool. The helicopter, and this is going to bring on a lot of discussion. The helicopter has returned. It was gone for pretty much all of season 10. And that's a little interesting. Why would you bring the helicopter back for the final season? So I do think there's going to be some CRM stuff in this season, but it's going to be very small. It's going to tease some stuff with Rick and where Rick went, because every season since he's left, there's been these little teases here and there, right? In season 9, we did get some like Rick stuff at the end. It was just little things foreshadowed throughout. Like you did get a lot of mentions, no CRM stuff really, but a lot of mentions. In season 10, obviously, Michonne's big story was she found out that Rick was alive, right? And so I do think the final season, like you're going to bring Rick up somehow. And you're obviously like Daryl, everyone else has to find out that he's still alive. There's a big story there. So the helicopter thing, I do think it teases that he will come up in some way, even come back to the show. Because I do think he is going to be coming back to the show. But my prediction is like the very, very last episode. And it might be during that time jump. This here looks like a Commonwealth troop helmet on the ground. That's kind of cool. We also see Aaron's prosthetic arm. So that's a little concerning. Does that mean that Aaron's going to die this season? Maybe. Or maybe that prosthetic arm is somehow going to come into play. I don't know. I'm really wondering if that teases Aaron's death this season. I mean, it's the final season, so anyone can die. There's also like, I have it in my notes here as 2 things in the back here. Well, actually, we'll just name them. That's stuff and that's things. I don't know what this is, but if you guys can let me know, I'd really appreciate it. But that's definitely like, those weren't there in season 10. Those are new. The swords have also changed from an X, which I guess stood for 10, to like they're standing straight now, which I guess would stand for 11 for season 11. Into Screams was also added to the wall, so that's interesting. The Pike scene was also removed towards the end, which makes sense. That Whisper arc is now over. And what's replaced it is Mercer and the Commonwealth troops, I guess, defending Alexandria against the Walkers. And I also noticed that this Whisper was removed, and now there's a Walker in its place. The Walking Dead isn't burnt anymore. In season 10, it was burnt. It was on fire. Now it's actually bleeding. And I did notice the color of the Walking Dead is very similar to season 1. It's been different for the last couple of seasons, but now it looks like season 1. And it looks like that season 1 logo is just like, it's definitely got a refreshing look. It's got an update, but it is decaying. It is bleeding. And I kind of like that. The last logo we're getting for the final season is bleeding. That's really cool. I really wanted to mention the Welcome to Alexandria sign, because that's also changed. I really wanted to mention that just because that sign has been, I don't know if you know the history of the sign, but originally it had this whole like Lost in the Plunderers thing, which was like I think it was a season 7 or a season 8 episode title. That was the original one. And then it changed in later seasons, and now it's on the ground. Obviously, Alexandria was ruined from the Whispers, and I mean, this looks like it's been burnt, or there's just a lot of water damage. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look too great. We also do have this new character named Agatha, and I just wanted to throw this in here. She is wearing a red glove, which I think means that she gets bit later, because we know that in the Comic-Con trailer, someone got bit. I originally thought it was Eldon, but if you actually look at the glove, it's red. I do think it's Agatha. I do believe she's going to get bit. My prediction is in episode 3. There's also some new characters. We have Duncan, Frost, and they are a part of Maggie's group along the likes of like Cole and Elijah. So this is really cool. Maggie's group now, like we know them. It's Maggie, Cole, Elijah, Duncan, Frost, and Agatha. And I really like every member here. They're all super cool. These are all show original characters. They're not from the comic book at all, so I really like this. They all come from Meridian, which is Maggie's old base. The Reapers actually took this place over, and that plays a big role in the story here of episode 1. We do have Maggie, who really wants to go back and get the food and supplies. Aaron and a few other people do kind of question that. I guess Aaron and Rosita more specifically. They question Maggie's motives here a little bit, or at least Rosita seems to. Like, it makes no sense to go back here when it's that dangerous, when we can just like fortify these walls and maybe try find food somewhere else, or you know what I mean? And I do think Maggie, she does have revenge on her mind. I definitely think like it bugs her that she lost that place to them. I think she wants to go back, and that could be one of her original plans. That could be something that comes up later on. Like, that's a big reason why she came back as well, because she wants help there. But then again, I mean, that's kind of turning her on everyone else. So, you know, like Maggie is definitely going to be an interesting character this season, because she's definitely a darker character. You can sense that in this episode, but in the comic, she is very much focused on being a leader. She loves being a leader, because in the comic, she becomes the leader of the Commonwealth. And so the hilltop's kind of done, but I mean, they might rebuild the hilltop. We'll see. I do think they will. Alexandria, they have to rebuild. She says Alexandria is her home, so I'll have to wait and see. At Meridian, they do want to go back, but it's just, is Maggie just going to stay there? Is she actually going to take the food and leave? I don't think she's going to screw everyone over, but definitely her motives here they're questionable, I would say a little bit, but she is still on our side. She's not going to screw them over and just like say, well, you guys come here now, right? Like, Herschel's in Alexandria. She's going to go back to Alexandria. It's just, I think she originally wanted to come over here, obviously, to retake her base or her new home back, right? So the group is actually split here. Aaron, Rosita, and Carol do stay behind. And this is the last we see of them in the episode, which seems early, but this is like 15, 16 minutes in the episode of, I think this episode's actually 44 minutes in total, 44, 45 minutes without commercials. So they're in it for like a third. This I thought was weird, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Daryl was wearing a hat during the storm, and it's weird to see Daryl wearing hats. I just had to mention it. I think it might be Maggie's hat. Like, is it Maggie's hat? Then we get into the subway tunnel and we see all these messages from like just a lot of it's a lot of commentary on just classes and the social class system and stuff, and a lot of it has messages from like all classes of life coming together after the apocalypse, and not really in a good way. And this definitely foreshadows the story to come with the Commonwealth. This is the big focus with the Commonwealth, is the social class system, but not in that sense, not in the way you're thinking. It's more of just in the sense that they are kind of what the old world is. And so obviously the point of this show is trying to get back to a sense of normal and survive, right? Like, you kind of want to find safety again. Well, now they're going back to that safety, and is it what they actually want? Like, do they want what the old world was? Because I can tell you, Daryl definitely doesn't. Daryl thrives in the apocalypse, so there's going to be some interesting things there that come up. Now we switch over to the Commonwealth. They want to see if they're going to be admitted to they're in level 1. If they pass this, they'll go to level 2. Eventually, they will go to the Commonwealth. I do believe this is going to happen in episode 2. At the time of recording this, I have not watched it, but definitely by the time this review is posted, I will have watched episode 2. So I just wanted to clarify that in case people are watching this after that and they're like, wait, what? I thought you watched the episode. But the Commonwealth, I mean, they really want to know very, very personal shit here. And specifically, they want to know how they wipe, which is, I think, a very important question. I've wondered for how long. Where are they taking their shits? Like, there's got to be a shit ton of shit somewhere piled up, right? Think about it. I mean, maybe they have really great plumbing in Alexandria. I think it's possible, but I mean, I'm assuming they're using leaves or like, I don't know what. There's somehow they got to be wiping their ass. And I think it's a very important question. I mean, I guess they could use it as fertilizer, but then like, who's doing that? Jerry? Yumiko is also getting Michonne's story almost exactly from the comic. She's a lawyer, and she's getting the Wall of the Law storyline. Like, Michonne in the comic is a lawyer. She arrives to the Commonwealth, and then she finds out that her daughter is on the Wall of the Lost. And then the reason why she gets expedited to the Commonwealth is because she is a lawyer and she does have a daughter there. Yumiko, if you notice on the Wall of the Lost, it says expedited to, I can't remember, I don't have the image in front of me, but they can get through the process a lot quicker if they do have people or family or whatnot within the Commonwealth, because they know more of their history, they know more of their backstory and stuff, right? So Yumiko finds out her brother Tommy is here, and yeah, she's a lawyer as well, so she's going to get that life that a lawyer has, the lifestyle, which means she's going to have a very fancy apartment and etc. And I mean, that's going to rip her away from the rest of the group. She's going to want to stay there because that's her life. And I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see Yumiko back in Alexandria. I do think she is probably going to stay at the Commonwealth for the rest of the season. Rest of the series, really. Also, they were interrogated for over 7 hours. I just wanted to mention that because I was looking at the clock. I wanted to see how long they were interrogated for, which didn't matter anyways because Ezekiel said it right afterwards. So, I mean, yeah, there's that. Also, I wanted to make a note here. Mercer's first lines on the show were, yeah, I'm in charge. He says that to Ezekiel. Ezekiel actually says to Mercer that he's like some power tripping cop or whatever. And Mercer's just like, oh, what? Like, you think I'm some power tripping cop? And that definitely affected Mercer because he's not. I know it seems like he is, but he is definitely not. He's in a position, in a role that makes him seen that way. And I definitely think that's bugging him a lot for people to be viewing him that way because he's not like that. He hates Pamela Milton. He hates Sebastian Milton. He hates the Commonwealth in a lot of ways, or he hates the people in charge anyways. And so for Ezekiel to say that to him, I mean, that's kind of why he laughed a little at that, because it does bug him, right? And that is something that's definitely going to get unraveled a lot more as we progress through the episodes and stuff, because he's not that person at all. And I think once we see his daily actions at the Commonwealth and all of that, it's going to be really cool. What I thought was funny was Princess throwing gang signs, like in some way to connect with Mercer, but Mercer just laughs. Or no, he kind of grunts. He's just like, oh, Jesus. and he just walks away. What's funny is that they do fall in love one day, so that's kind of cool. You can kind of see how that dynamic is going to work there. I think Princess is going to be the one that jokes a lot, as Mercer is going to be annoyed quite a bit, but he's going to love her for how crazy she is. And yeah, Michonne was mentioned during the scene, and I just wanted to mention that because I don't think we're going to get a Michonne mention for quite a while, but that was really cool. The interrogation scene overall was expanded from the comic book. The Wall of the Lost, like I said, was given to Yumiko, and she does find her brother Tommy. That was changed. We already talked about that. But the interrogation scene in the comic book was very quick, and they're outside for the most part. The scenery's changed quite a bit, and the Wall of the Lost is actually on some like billboard outside or something like that. So it's definitely changed a lot here on the show, which makes a lot of sense because I think if it was on that billboard, it would be so windy. Those things would fly off all the time. On the show, it's on this brick wall inside like this building here. So there's that. Now we have this Velveteen Rabbit. I wanted to mention this because I think this is probably the last time we're going to see this Velveteen Rabbit, to be honest. Unless we see it in the very final episode and they do a 20-year time jump and there's some little Easter egg in there, right? Because it's the final episode, they might want to throw in a bunch of little Easter eggs throughout the entire series. So we could see it then, but this Velveteen Rabbit, obviously we saw it. I believe we saw it in season 10. We saw it in season 9. And then obviously its origin was in season 8 with the Judith that we never actually ever saw, but it was in that dream sequence. Now going back to, I guess, the very final scenes of the episode, we have Negan, who says that Maggie is playing dictator. And I mean, man, he's not taking shit at all. And he says he's living in her head, living rent free, and that she planned to kill him. This was really cool that he mentioned that. And I also like the fact that he said to Daryl, is like, oh yeah, I can tell by the look in your eyes that you had no idea. Which Daryl, you can kind of see Daryl was like, oh, I do wonder if he's actually right about this, if Maggie was planning to kill him here. And if he really kind of had no clue that this would be happening, which is interesting. And Gabriel's like, you're paranoid. But I do wonder if this was Maggie's motivation, if Maggie was planning to do this. And based off of how this episode ends, like I'm really curious as to how this is going to go down, because this is going to be crazy. Negan actually does say, though, that he's not going to be put down like a dog, like he's standing up for himself. He's like, I'm not going to be put down like a dog, like Glenn was. Oh, man, that was so uncalled for. Daryl punched him out right away. Man, I laughed, though. I thought it was kind of funny. But the very last scenes here, Daryl gets separated. He goes after Dog, but obviously we know he's going to be fine because in some of the trailers and stuff for episode 2, he is fine. He's with Dog, but though Dog keeps running away, I'm guessing he's tracking the scent of Leah, who is a Reaper. So there's that. Negan lets Maggie die, basically, but she's going to be safe, though. Obviously, they're going to be doing the Glenn dumpster thing again, except she goes under the train car because there's this shot here from some of those promotional images where we do see her in the train car. And I bet you she is going to be questioning the shit out of Negan. And I don't know what happens next year. Is she just going to be like, yeah, I get it. You don't like me. You wanted me to die. I'll let you live. Like, it's got to be explained how she doesn't pull the trigger right there, right? But anyways, this shit is far from over with the story. Like, this storyline is definitely going to be heating up quite a bit. And Maggie did plan to kill Negan. I know that. I feel like that's definitely true. Negan was right when he said that. It's just like, how is that actually going to go down later? Because they are alone later on, and I believe those things happen in episode 3 or 4, around there. And so if they're alone later on, how do they not die? Like, how, you know what I mean? So I'm really curious as to how this is going to unfold. And at this point anyways, I can't wait for episode 2. But overall, I thought this was a really great episode. These are all the Easter eggs that I've noticed and everything that I brought up in this video. I will be doing an episode 2 trailer breakdown and also like a predictions video on what I think is going to happen in episode 2. And remember, I'm doing this video before I have actually watched the episode. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, stay tuned for that. That should be dropping very soon, within the hour, because it's already going to be scheduled and stuff. So yeah, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this all season long. The final season has officially begun, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next video.